Well, to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have this phone with Mr. Tarek Sherif, member of the Egyptian Chamber of Hotels. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
Well, sir, Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli was inspecting yesterday the Grand Egyptian Museum with a number of ministers to follow up on the situation there, and also to follow up on the area surrounding the Grand Egyptian Museum, and especially he inspected the second sun boat of King Khufu after its restoration. Could you give us an idea about this, please?
Sure. Well, of course, I mean, undoubtedly that the Grand Egyptian Museum is going to be a great addition to the tourism map in Egypt, and it's going to be the largest in the region, no doubt. And it's going to add a great destination to this place. We can clearly see that the government is really exerting great efforts and pushing to have this opened on time. And it's going to really be a great success and a big story on the road of the tourism in Egypt. So having His Excellency, the Prime Minister, visiting this is no surprise, and it tells us a lot how is the government really concerned and trying to push this as soon as possible.
Yes, and concerning that the Prime Minister have inspected the sunboat of King Khufu, could you give us an idea about this?
Well, the sunboat of King Khufu, it's really, it has been, that has been discovered by Mr. Kamal Malach years ago, and it has been always located next to the pyramids. It has great meanings, because if we really use the meaning of it, is the transformation or the trip between life and the hereafter, and it means a lot at the pharaonic culture. So visiting this also gives attention that we are really looking into our big monuments and big historical locations. And it is being restored, and we all know that it has been moved with great success, moving it from the pyramids area to its new location. So there has been a lot of historians working on it, and we're waiting for it to be displayed properly at this great museum.
Yes, so Mr. Sherif, also the Grand Egyptian Museum is going to be the biggest museum in the whole world, and it's going to encompass a large number of Egyptian monuments and pieces. Could you give us an idea about the most important pieces in the Grand Egyptian Museum?
Well, there were, as you said rightfully, there will be a lot of great pieces there, but definitely Ramses II, the statue of Ramses II, and the sunboat, and of course later on we will have the mosque and the enclosures of the tomb of King Tut. So all these, not to mention the rest, but these are going to be definitely the highlight. And one of the highlights is also the location of the museum and the view from there, because from there you will be facing the pyramids as well. So it's as if the pyramids is in the museum, or the museum is at the pyramids. So the location has been, brilliant location, the construction, and the masterpieces that will be displayed there.
Yes. Also, Mr. Sherif, the whole world is waiting to see all the collection of, or the treasures of Tutankhamun, King Tut, that is going to be all collected from everywhere, from the Grand Egyptian Museum and also from the exhibitions. It was touring the world, and it was displayed in exhibitions in London and in Paris, and it came back to Egypt to rest forever in the Grand Egyptian Museum.
Right, yeah. Well, I always say that King Tut is an extraordinary ambassador for Egypt. He's been touring the world and talking to the world about how great is our civilization.
Yes.
So when we have this sitting in the Grand Museum, after touring the world, I'm sure there will be a generation after generation who will want to come and see King Tut sitting in his right place next to the pyramids in Egypt.
Yes, yes. So, Mr. Sherif, the inauguration or the expected inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum, what would it add to the hotels in Giza around or very near to the plateau of the Grand Egyptian Museum, the hotels there?
Well, it will definitely add more because, I mean, we can see clearly that the development in this part of Giza is really working very closely with all the concerned ministries and organizations. So it's not only the Great Museum, but also the Sphinx Airport and the development. So between this and that, this destination in Giza is going to be a hot spot. It's going to definitely add more value to the hotels because people will want to be as close as possible to the museum and the pyramids. So I'm sure it's going to help the hotels to gain more occupancy and business. And we know for sure that there is more hotel development coming up in this area. So it's a natural growth to our tourism destination in Giza.
Yes. So how did Egypt prepare the surrounding place or the state? How did it prepare the surrounding place, the place surrounding the Grand Egyptian Museum, the buildings there, the streets, the restorations work that took place out there?
Well, I'm lucky because I live nearby this area, so
yes, that's
I'm very frequently driving by, and I can see that this area has been now gated, and of course, what we know that there will be no cars or buses allowed near that area, so there will be internal or internal transportation. So we keep the environment clean and clear. And we can see also that the infrastructure is really working very hard. So on all passes or roads driving or leading to the museum and to the pyramids is being worked on. The metro is coming up soon in the Al-Ahram Street. The area coming from Wahat Road going to the museum, the Ring Road. So all this has been coordinated, or I would say orchestrated, with very high coordination with all organizations and areas to make sure that accessibility is clean, clear, and safe. Yeah. And of course, we have to be very concerned or very aware of the security measures, which I'm sure it will be very high, and every guest will be safe and in a good hand.
Yes. So, Mr. Sherif, how would the inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum would change the map of tourism in Egypt? And we are going to see the hotels in Giza and Cairo fully booked for years,
I'm sorry,
the whole year.
I'm losing part of the question, so I did not hear the question properly.
Yes, sir, Mr. Sherif, I'm going to repeat the question. How would the inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum would change the map of tourism in Egypt?
Okay, well, we know that this inauguration of the museum is going to be an international occasion.
Yes.
And there will be a lot of head of state and head of government will be invited. So this is going to send a message, very clear message, that the world is celebrating Egypt's inauguration of this museum.
Yes.
It's going to definitely come out with big media and big publicity. And where we know that Egypt is on the map, but is going to confirm its location on the map by adding an additional great destination like the museum.
Yes, yes. So with the Grand Egyptian Museum, Egypt's gift to the world, Egypt is going to receive several guests. Can we say that the hotels, after the inauguration of the GEM or the Grand Egyptian Museum, can we say or be sure that all the hotels in Cairo and Giza are going to be fully booked for years?
Well, we hope so, and we are aiming to have this full occupancy. And of course, this will be accompanied with the return of tourism and lifting the restriction of flights and all what we have suffered from in the past 2 years from the corona restrictions. But I'm very positive about having full hotels, high occupancy, and of course this is an invitation also to the management companies and the hotel owners to start really working hard on adding values to their hotels to meet the expectation and to be ready for the boom of tourism coming up our way.
Yes, Mr. Sherif, how did the hotels surrounding the Grand Egyptian Museum are preparing itself to host or to receive tourists to Egypt coming to visit the Grand Egyptian Museum?
Well, most of the hotels are now working on either renovation or facelifting, making sure that their staff are well trained and preparing themselves to be up to the standard, and because they are not only meeting guests, but they are meeting the guests of Egypt, so they will have to be the right face and the right host for these guests who are coming to our country.
Yes. Yes. Mr. Sherif, how long would it take someone to tour the Grand Egyptian Museum?
Well, I have not experienced it myself
yes,
yet,
but they are saying it would take a long time, or days, or maybe months. If you are going to stand in front of every statue for 1 minute, it's going to take days and weeks to finish or see the whole museum.
Well, yes, of course. I mean, yeah, if we take it this way, if you want to stand in front of every statue and know more in detail, it will take you forever to tour the museum. However, it is prepared in a way that the tour is going to be easy and the flow of guests will be in the right direction, and there will be more aid so people can hear and see and listen to the description. And of course, if those who were not able to tour it the way that is satisfactory to them, like they want to see everything, we invite them to come back again.
Yes, yes, of course. I thank you very much for your valuable information. Thank you for your time, Mr. Tarek Sherif, member of the Egyptian Chamber of Hotels. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone. Ladies and gentlemen, a short break and I'm going to be back with you.